Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. Happy Friday, it's April 11th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Have you ever been to a stand-up comedy show? How about one that's at an unexpected place like a laundromat or hair salon, and you only find out the address a few hours ahead of time?
A little bit of absurdity opens up people's minds to all of the different things that they can do. It's a nice change up to the status quo, the 9 to 5.
We will learn more in just a few minutes, but first, these news headlines. An attempt to arrest a fugitive from Kern County has reportedly claimed the life of a police officer in Tijuana, Mexico. As KVPR's Carrie Klein reports, details from the incident on Wednesday are still emerging.
The officer was shot and killed while trying to arrest a man who escaped from custody in Kern County last December. A spokesman for the state police in Baja California identified that man as Cesar Hernandez. He was serving an 80-year prison sentence at Kern Valley State Prison in Delano for first-degree murder. He escaped while being transported to the Kern County Superior Courthouse. Authorities have not said whether he shot the officer in Mexico. She was identified as Abigail Esparza Reyes with the Baja California State Police. An ABC News documentary described her as a member of a specialized unit that tracks U.S. fugitives who escape to Mexico. Hernandez remains on the loose. U.S. Marshals are among the agencies investigating. For KVPR News, I'm Carrie Klein.
The Hanford Police Department settled 2 separate discrimination cases this week for a total of $500,000. The allegations of racism came from 2 former officers and stretch back nearly 20 years. They included allegations of nooses being left in patrol vehicles and white officers using a racial slur to refer to a black coworker, along with emails that allegedly targeted ethnic groups. City officials denied all allegations of racism. The 2 officers had initially sought a total of $15 million in damages, according to court records. Arvin city leaders have voted to hold a special election to fill the city council's vacant seat. The unanimous vote followed months of debate after a former city council member resigned in September. Olivia Calderon is Arvin's mayor. She says the community was ecstatic after the vote.
There were loud cheers in the council chambers, loud cheers, applause, and chanting that, si se puede, yes, we can.
The city already missed a deadline to vote on the special election that was set by a Kern County grand jury. Now an election is scheduled for August. A state bill that would help provide affordable housing for farm workers is moving through the legislature. The bill would extend a law that fast-tracks farm worker housing developments within 15 miles of farms or grazing land in Fresno, Madera, and Merced counties. Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria of Merced introduced the bill. The bill passed through one assembly committee this week into another. A former restaurant in Fresno is finding new life as an affordable housing complex. The 4-story development, known as Dakota, will replace Smuggler's Restaurant on Blackstone Avenue. Developers say the new multifamily housing will have 114 units, with about a third reserved for veterans. Crews are set to break ground on the complex today.
Raise a glass with KVPR, Sunday afternoon, May 4th, for KVPR's wine tasting and more, featuring fine wines from California and beyond, local craft beer, delicious food, live music, and a silent auction, all on the amazing grounds of the Lester Estate in Fresno, where Van Ness Extension meets the San Joaquin River. All proceeds benefit KVPR, so purchase your tickets today at kvpr.org/wine.
And now to our main story. In the past, you've probably attended a stand-up comedy show or 2, but have you ever been to one that's at a secret location you only find out about a few hours before, and where no phones are allowed? A traveling stand-up comedy show with these unique rules recently made a pit stop in Merced. KVPR's Rachel Livinal attended the show and found amidst the laughs and giggles is a deeper meaning.
DeJan Tyler has been doing stand-up comedy for 20 years, but his first time performing in Merced a few weeks ago was unusual. The venue had a TV from the 70s with a gray, staticky screen.
I like this. When I walked in, I was scared because I seen the TV. And the first movie that I watched that I wasn't supposed to watch was Poltergeist.
In another corner, a twin-size bed and 90s movie posters.
That looked like my room when I was 12.
The stage had a brown recliner and a window frame on the wall.
This chair is giving me anxiety because one of my first girlfriends, her dad had a chair like this.
But for him, the most shocking thing was the drive to Merced.
That from Sacramento to Merced, you smell 17 different flavors of
Tyler was part of a lineup for a traveling comedy show called Offline Comedy. Shows pop up a few times a month around the Central Valley. This time it took place at a film studio. That explains the props. Andrew Nosrati is the creator. He says this wasn't their most peculiar location.
We've done gyms, hair salons, bookstores. We did a dog park this week.
The comics are raunchy and edgy. Alcohol is encouraged. But the shows are good for more than a few drunken laughs. He says the Central Valley can use a little bit more work in the arts and entertainment department.
We were never like a super vibrant, happening community. There wasn't always things to do. I want to do things differently.
Nosrati is a substitute teacher in Turlock who created Offline as a passion project. A couple years ago, he started by talking to hairdressers in their salons and hosting next to the dryers at a laundromat.
A little bit of absurdity opens up people's minds to all of the different things that they can do. It's a nice change up to the status quo, the 9 to 5.
Nosrati says comedy also opens up minds in other ways, like with politics and preconceived notions. He challenges both of those in his set.
I'm a Christian, Middle Eastern. I think my family just did it when we moved to Turlock. We're just we gotta figure this out.
His jokes also poke fun at the stereotype of Christians who voted for Donald Trump.
And the problem is if you stare blue-eyed Jesus in the eyes for long enough, you start to see a MAGA cap up there.
He says comedy about tense topics can unite Republicans, Democrats, and everyone in between.
Just a person with their thoughts and all of us either rejecting them or accepting them. It's so raw and beautifully American.
Give it up for yourselves. Yeah, I just kind of keep wanting to hear that scream.
After the show, DeJan Tyler says he feels comedy could brighten up Merced a little more.
People come have a good time, and they go home, and they spread that good vibe to their friends and family.
Attendees agree. Mark Taylor is a high school teacher in Merced.
Yeah, I think it brings people together. I think it gives us something to be proud of stuff that's going on here.
His friend Joseph Romero works at UC Merced.
It just creates a cool opportunity, for people to get together and laugh. That's always community building.
They say it breaks up the routine. A little booze, a few giggles, a new outlook on your hometown. For KVPR News, I'm Rachel Livinal.
And Rachel joins me now to chat a little more about her reporting. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Liz.
So first, Rachel, I would love to know how you heard about these secret comedy shows.
Yeah, so I actually heard about this story on Reddit. Reddit is kind of a great tool for journalists, at least it is for me. But I heard it on the Merced thread. The creator, Andrew Nosrati, he posted about it. And then I thought, this is crazy cool. Why is it happening in Merced? And I was surprised to find something like it on social media, but I took it.
So where does Nosrati typically host? What do owners also get out of this kind of arrangement if they let him host these comedy shows at their establishment?
Yeah, so we know he hosts at weird places in general, but he also told me that he generally hosts in small businesses. So they're often places people in the city don't even know exist, or maybe they drove by them and just didn't really know what was inside. For this one, it was a film studio, as I said. It had just opened up a few weeks back at the point that he hosted the show there, and I had never seen it before. I didn't know things like that were in Merced, and I'm sure others hadn't either. And then I talked to the owner, and he said, well, he felt the same when he was going to offline comedy shows. He had seen places he'd never seen before either. And I think it just opens up your eyes to what's really in your hometown and maybe gives you a sense of pride in that too.
So for aspiring local comics, is this a good place to get their start? And if they wanted to perform, how do you get a hold of someone with everything being so secretive?
Yeah, I feel like the comics, at least at the show that I went to, were fairly experienced. Some of them have been doing it for years, even decades. But for all or almost all of them, they'd never seen Merced before. I feel like it might be a good place for new comics to come to if they are, especially if they're from the Valley. I'm sure Andrew might at least talk to them and see, what they would be willing to bring to the show. And I also wanted to say about the comics that were in Merced, it was like Merced was a little bit of a tougher crowd, they told me, because it seems like they were new to stand-up performances. And obviously some comics commented on Merced, as we saw in the feature. So I think it added to it in a way. But I think if you wanted to get a hold of someone, it's pretty easy. Andrew has his phone number plastered on their website. It's offlinecomedy.com is their website.
And on a personal note for you, Rachel, this was your first time attending a comedy show as well. So what did you think? And I'm curious if you want to check out other acts now.
I'm just glad that the laughing in the room was louder than my laughs. I mean, I was literally cracking up the whole time. I think the jokes were great for people, especially in their 20s and 30s. I related to some of them. I think I will definitely go to another show in the near future.
And if our listeners are interested in checking out one of these offline comedy shows, do you know if they have any upcoming dates?
Yeah, so they actually have one on Saturday, April 12th. That one's going to be in Modesto. And then they have one on May 16th in Merced. So they're coming up, and you can access them on that website, offlinecomedy.com. It's pretty easy to navigate and buy your tickets.
KVPR reporter Rachel Livinal, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Liz.
And that's today's show. Like what you hear on Central Valley Daily? Support the show by leaving a 5-star rating in your podcast app. We really appreciate it. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.